I'll tell you the plan to use 61 million tons of rubble that Gaza has collected and what use will it be for. The time for on point 6 is on the use of Gaza rubble, a controversial and striking idea emerging from Gaza's next phase of governance, one that blends desperation, engineering ambition and geopolitical uncertainty. The Palestinian official chosen to help administer Gaza under a US-backed plan has unveiled a proposal that is already drawing attention well beyond the region, pushing vast amounts of war debris into the Mediterranean Sea to create new land, potentially even artificial islands as part of the Gaza's reconstruction. Ali Shaath, a civil engineer and a former deputy planning minister, was appointed this week to chair a committee of Palestinian technocrats tasked with governing Gaza after years of Hamas rule. He appointed a number of people to work with him, and his appointment marks the practical start of what Trump administration has framed as the pathway to ending the war and rebuilding the devastated enclave. Gaza today is barely recognizable. Nearly half of the territory has seen Israeli forces withdraw, while the rest remains under military control. An expanse of flattened neighborhoods, destroyed infrastructure and shattered lives. An estimated 68 million tons of rubble, much of it mixed with unexploded ordnance, blankets the territory. Shaath's proposal tackles this problem head-on and in a way that recalls Gaza's past. In earlier conflicts, Palestinians reused debris from destroyed buildings to build foundations, including parts of the Gaza's historic marina. Now, Shaath is suggesting scaling that approach dramatically. In a radio interview, he described a vision where heavy machinery would push rubble into the sea, reclaiming land from the water while simultaneously clearing the streets. In his words, Gaza could gain space even as it removes the wreckage of war, potentially completing this massive debris clearance within 3 years. The idea is bold, but it is also deeply contentious. Environmental experts have long warned that the dumping construction debris into Mediterranean could damage ecosystem, marine ecosystem, and alter coastal currents. Now, politically, the plan raises the question about maritime boundaries, security oversight, and who would control newly created land. And practically, it depends on access to heavy equipment that Israel has historically restricted from entering Gaza, citing security concerns. Still, Shaath insists that clearing the rubble is a prerequisite for any meaningful recovery. His plan unfolds in stages: immediate humanitarian relief and temporary housing for displaced families, followed by restoration of essential infrastructure like water, power and roads, and only then full reconstruction of homes and cities. He has offered an optimistic timeline suggesting Gaza could be significantly rebuilt within 7 years, a claim that sharply contrasts with UN estimates, which says rebuilding Gaza housing stock alone would take until 2040, if not longer. Shaath brings technical credentials to the role. Born in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, he holds a doctorate in civil engineering from Queen's University, Belfast, and previously oversaw industrial development projects in both Gaza and the West Bank. But even supporters acknowledge that engineering expertise alone may not be enough. The political and security landscape remains unstable. Israel and Hamas continue to exchange fire. Negotiations over disarming militants group remain unresolved. And the deployment of peacekeepers, a key component of the US-backed plan, is uncertain. Shaath says his committee's authority would initially focus on areas still under Hamas control and gradually expand as Israeli forces withdraw further. Eventually, he says, the body would govern the entire Gaza Strip from the Mediterranean coast to the eastern border. Notably, the plan has drawn rare, cautious support from both Hamas and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Hamas officials say it is now up to the international mediators in the United States to empower the committee. Abbas has framed it as a temporary administrative phase and stressed the need to avoid deepening political division between Gaza and the West Bank. Israel has not publicly commented on Shaath's appointment or his proposal to dump rubble into the sea, but without Israeli approval for equipment imports, border access and maritime activity, the plan may remain theoretical. For now, the image is a powerful one, a territory trying to rebuild itself by quite literally reshaping the coastline, turning the wreckage of war into new ground to stand on, Whether that vision becomes a symbol of recovery or another unrealized promise will depend not just on engineering, but on politics, security, and whether the fighting truly stops.